Hey guys, my name is Brian. Here on the End User, we talk about not just smartphones, but all things tech. Today we're talking about WWDC, and that is just around the corner. And I'm super excited. There's a few rumors going out. But before I do, I am not going to be talking about operating systems or updates to iPadOS, iOS, or macOS. I might do a different video for that, but it's not super interesting right now. What's really interesting is actually the rumors for a new MacBook Air, a new Mac Pro, and a Studio Display Pro, a new display kind of sandwiched between the Pro XDR and the Studio Display. So I'm really excited about those. So that's what I really want to talk about today. If you guys have any other ideas of stuff you want to talk about with WWDC, let me know in the comments below so that I can make that video for you guys. So the first thing I'm going to talk about are the MacBook Air. So there's a lot of rumors going on out there that new MacBook Airs are coming. They're going to kind of, resemble the M1 iMac in the fact that it's going to have different colors. So green, blue, yellow, orange, I think red, and silver, I believe is the classic. And it's going to have a white bezel around it and a white keyboard. People are not super sure about the size. I believe it's going to be a 14-inch MacBook Air. I think Apple for a long time has built a lot of their products around using the same product repeatedly. So if you look at the iPhone 13, the 13 Pro, and 13 Pro Max, they all look exactly the same with variances in materials and things in components inside the device versus physical changes to the body. If you look at the MacBook line, it's the same story. You have the MacBook 13-inch and then the MacBook faster version of the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and then you have the MacBook 15-inch, and they all looked exactly the same. It's just a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, and that makes the manufacturing process that much easier and that much more consistent. So I believe there's no reason that Apple wouldn't make a 14-inch MacBook Air, especially when they were able to kind of stretch out the bezels a lot, and since a lot of the rumors do indicate that it's going to have a notch in the display, it kind of makes sense to me that they would do that as well. A lot of people believe that, like the M1 iMac, it's going to have a white bezel. I believe if Apple's going with a notch in the bezel, and I believe they're going to be using the frame and the same tooling for the MacBook Pro 14-inch, I think that's very unlikely because you would just see that it doesn't blend in. Definitely expect a black bezel, if not, no notch at all. And then we also have a new Mac Pro. Now, I think this is going to be incredibly interesting because it's a device that I think almost no one needs. And a lot of people can argue it is a gap in Apple's product line. There is no outright professional chip Apple makes, or a professional computer that Apple makes for the audience. Now, you can argue that the Intel version of their Mac Pro is there, and that's true, it is there, but we see that a lot of times that the M1 Ultra is, if not the same speed, faster than that. That can't be it. And it can't be it because Apple said it wasn't it. They're gonna make a new Mac Pro, and that's the next thing that's coming down the line. Now, the question is, how fast is this thing gonna be? And I like to look at the car community and car manufacturers for this, because when you look at something like Volkswagen, right? They make the Jetta, but they also own Bugatti that makes the Chiron. And that is just a car at no expense. And I believe Apple's gonna have a very similar approach with the Mac Pro. They're gonna spare no expense. They're gonna go all out. It's not gonna be M2. It's not gonna be M1, Super Pro or something like that. I believe it's gonna be its own named chip. Almost like how Intel has a Xeon chip. I believe it's gonna be Apple's X chip or something along those lines, and it's going to be absolutely expensive, and it's going to be incredibly fast, and it's going to be modular. And I think that's where a lot of people are going to just swing in for the fences, because modularity is super important for the professional market. And when you look at the prices that Apple was charging for its ProRes Afterburner card, it was like $2,000, I believe. I think Apple is gonna do the same thing again. The prices are gonna come down just a little bit more, but overall it's gonna be an incredibly expensive machine. It's gonna be modular, it's gonna have its own naming convention, and it's gonna be for the elitist of the highest of the most professional people in the world. It's gonna be the Chiron of Macs. And then next you have the Studio Display Pro XDR, which I believe it's going to be called that, or the Studio Display XDR. And I believe Apple's really going to make this because it is a huge gap in their product line. So when you look at the Studio display and you come off, you know, the MacBook Pro 14-inch or the 16-inch, the new one with the notch, and the M1 Pro, the M1 Max, that has a 3.5K display, XDR mini LED at 120 hertz. So when you go to the Studio display, you're actually going to a different experience, and that's really hard on a lot of professionals. So when I'm creating any kind of graphic design or UX UI, I like to see that my display is incredibly consistent from one device to another. When I'm going from a Pro XDR like experience with 120 hertz to the Studio display, it's kind of jarring. It's not bad. It is absolutely calibrated. It looks absolutely great, and the finish is amazing. It's a little expensive, but I think it's still something that is not consistent in the workflow. But to flip the switch and spend $6,000, including the stand, which is $1,000 by itself, so the display is $5,000 for 32 inches at 6K, which I don't need 6K, and I would take it, not for $6,000, but and I certainly don't need 32 inches, and not at that price. So I think it's out of reach for a lot of prosumers. Now, professionals who are maybe doing video editing literally all the time, whether it's movies, weddings, or they have a pro studio or something like that, these bigger YouTubers, it makes sense. But for someone like me, who's a professional consumer, who does YouTube on the side, who does UX, UI, and graphic design as his vocation, it doesn't really make any sense for me. And that's a really big market for a lot of people. You have to think big industry. You have to think about, you know, companies like Apple themselves, right? You have to think of companies like Google or like Facebook who are going to be buying these displays in mass quantity. And all of these designers want a consistent experience across their workflows from end to end. And I believe that Apple is going to make a Studio Display XDR. It's going to support 120 hertz. And it's going to be the perfect companion for the MacBook Pro 14-inch, the 16-inch, and even the Studio or the Mac Studio. And those are going to be the main products. Now, whether Apple's really going to release them at WWDC or even announce them, I think the only one that they're going to maybe announce at WWDC is going to be the M1 MacBook Air. I think there's a 90% chance it's going to be announced because it's going to be huge for students. And it's really huge over the summer. You see a lot of people coming into the Apple store, you know, buying laptops for their fall semesters and so on and so on. They often have a lot of student discounts and student deals and so on and so forth. So I really think if anything's going to be announced, it's going to be the new MacBook Air. As far as the Studio Pro Display XDR or Studio Display XDR, there's a small chance. I would say it's around 35 to 40%. There's some rumors that there's some supply constraints right now over in China, so it may not be announced, or it may be announced ahead of time and said that it's going to be available come September. And the Mac Pro, I just have no chance. They might announce the chip, but I just don't think they're going to announce the device. If they do, and I'm wrong, great, because I'm excited to see the Bugatti Chiron of Macs. That's going to be absolutely amazing, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Of course, you have iOS, Mac OS, and iPad OS. There's a few rumors that iPad OS is going to turn into a Mac OS kind of device when you link it to an external keyboard, but we'll see if it's there. I'll definitely check it out and do a review. But let me know what you guys are excited about for WWDC in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be notified for all future upcoming content. Like I said, we don't talk about just smartphones, we talk about all things tech. So hit that like button. It definitely helps the algorithm for small YouTubers like me. My name is Brian. I'll see you guys right here next time on The End User. I think I'm just going to keep the other take with the watch because it's kind of annoying. Bing! But it was a really good take, so it's kind of annoying. I'll try one more time.